Hello Paradigm Kids, I hope in my heart that it's going well. Come join me for today's lesson.
Welcome to the Paradigm Kids video class.
Do you know who Jesus is? Jesus is the Son of God and the Savior of the world. While Jesus was on earth, He taught everyone about God's love. He healed lots of people from sickness and performed a lot of miracles. One day, Jesus went and sat with His disciples. While Jesus was with His disciples, He wanted to teach the crowds who came to listen to Him. He often spoke in parables. Do you know what a parable is? A parable isn't a true story. It is a story that Jesus made up to teach a lesson. Have you ever heard of the story of Goldilocks and the three bears? How about the three little pigs? These stories are easy to remember, just like a parable. Jesus told them so that the people would remember them. The difference between children's stories and parables is that children's stories are to make believe. Bears don't talk and live in houses, and neither do pigs. But while the stories Jesus told weren't real stories, they were about real life things. Even though you are young, you can learn these stories too. They show us how to act towards others, how to please God, and they teach us things about what heaven is like and how we can live with Him someday. After Jesus told a parable, He would explain what it meant, but He only told people that were His friends and really wanted to know Him better. Here is a parable that Jesus told. This one is about the farmer, and it goes like this. A farmer went out to plant his garden. As he was throwing the seeds on the ground, some fell on the hard path nearby the birds, and they came to eat them. The next seeds fell near some rocks the farmer had in a pile nearby. There was not much dirt around the rocks, so the seeds started to sprout and grow the next day. When the seeds aren't planted in the dirt, they don't grow roots, which help them to stay strong and wet, which help them to grow properly. But it was very hot and the plants started dying because they had no roots in the ground. As the farmer continued to throw the seeds onto the ground, some of the seeds fell among the weeds and thorns that he didn't pull out. The thorns grew fast and taller than the seeds, so the seeds couldn't get enough sunlight and were choked out by the thorns. And finally, some seeds fell on the good soil that the farmer had worked on and dug holes for the seeds to go into. Those seeds made plants, and those plants produced lots and lots of vegetables. The disciples asked what it meant, so Jesus explained what it meant. Your mom and dad and even your teacher are trying to tell you more about God and how to get in heaven someday. When they talk to you about these things, they are planting a pretend seed in your mind. The seed is a story about Jesus, and as you learn more, the seed grows and gets bigger, and you eventually will know lots about God and be able to tell others about Him. If you hear them talking about Jesus but don't understand, you need to ask questions. If you don't ask, you will forget what you learned, and it will be like the seeds that fell on the path that were eaten by the birds. You will forget, and the seeds will be gone from your mind, and it won't grow. Sometimes you might learn something about God and you will be excited about it, but you don't learn more. It helps to read Bible stories and pray and go to church if you can. If you don't do any of these things, you won't have a good friendship with God. If you don't learn more about God, the pretend seed in your mind won't grow, and it will be like the seed that fell on the rocks. It grew only for a short time and then it died. The next seed is the one that was choked out by the thorns. This can happen when you hear a lesson about God and then you start to worry about all kinds of things. You might worry about your parents or your friends. By worrying, you will choke out the pretend seed in your mind. Pray to God instead of worrying. And the last seed is the best. It fell on the good ground. If you learn from what you hear in church or at school, the seed in your mind will grow. You will be able to tell others about how great God is. Instead of growing a garden, you will be helping others to know God and making heaven grow with more people to live there. Thank you for learning with me, Paradigm Kids. Please remember to always share what you have learned with everyone around you. See you next time.